Most gardeners think summer is the season where you stop planting and start praying. You water twice a day, you rig up shade cloth, you watch your tomatoes curl up in the afternoon sun, and you tell yourself next year you'll do better. But here's the uncomfortable truth almost nobody talks about: the heat was never the problem. The vegetables were. Before I show you the 9 that flip this whole idea upside down, hit subscribe, because this channel is built around exactly this kind of gardening truth, the stuff that actually changes how your garden performs, not just another list of tips you've already heard 100 times. Let me tell you about my neighbor Dale first, because if you've gardened in the US for more than one summer, you've probably lived some version of this story. Dale did everything right. Good potting mix, full sun, a watering schedule he followed like scripture. By the 4th of July, his containers looked like a disaster zone. Crispy leaves, dropped blossoms, a garden that looked like it had given up on him. He kept asking what he did wrong. The answer was nothing. He just picked plants that were never built for what August in this country actually is. Here's what changed everything for me, and it's backed by research from places like the University of Florida and Texas A&M Extension. Some vegetables didn't just adapt to heat somewhere along the way. They evolved specifically because of it. Their leaves, their roots, even their internal chemistry are shaped by conditions most garden vegetables consider hostile. Once you understand that, summer stops being something to survive. It becomes the best growing window of the entire year. So let's count down 9 container vegetables that don't tolerate the heat. They were built to run on it. Number 9 is Malabar spinach, and this one surprises almost everyone. Regular spinach bolts the second temperatures climb, turning bitter and useless within days. Malabar spinach does the opposite, because its thick, waxy leaves act like a built-in shield, reflecting intense sunlight instead of absorbing it. Picture sunscreen, except the plant manufactures its own. Give it a deep container, a trellis to climb, and consistent moisture, and you'll be harvesting glossy green leaves in the exact weeks your lettuce gave up on you. Number 8 is yard-long beans, and here's a detail that trips up even experienced gardeners. This bean species actually requires warm nighttime temperatures before it will flower at all. Cornell's vegetable research has noted this exact pattern. Some beans aren't just heat-tolerant, they're heat-dependent. So while your regular green beans are stalling out in July, yard-long beans are just getting started, climbing a tall support and producing pods over a foot long in the exact conditions that shut other beans down. Quick question for you: have you ever grown regular green beans that just stopped producing once summer hit its peak? If that's happened to you, you already understand exactly why this one matters. Number 7 is Armenian cucumber, and this is where a lot of gardeners have been slightly misled. It's not actually a cucumber. Botanically, it's a melon, which gives it a deeper, more drought-resistant root system than a true cucumber will ever have. Regular cucumbers turn bitter and stressed the moment the heat spikes. This one just keeps climbing the trellis, unbothered, producing long, ridged fruit while its cousins wilt in the next pot over. Number 6 is sweet potato vines, and this is one of the most visually satisfying entries on this list. The plant stores water inside swollen root tissue underground, essentially building its own emergency reserve tank. While everything else in your yard is drooping by 2 in the afternoon, sweet potato vines are spilling over the edges of their container, thick and green, coasting through the driest stretch of summer on water it saved up in advance. Number 5 is habanero peppers, and here's the part almost nobody expects. Heat stress at the fruiting stage doesn't damage the pepper. It intensifies capsaicin production. The plant isn't suffering in the heat. It's using it. Dale's habaneros, by the way, were the only thing in his garden that made it through that brutal August. He didn't even plant them intentionally. They simply refused to quit. Number 4 is eggplant, and here's a myth worth busting. People assume eggplant is fragile because of its glossy, delicate-looking skin. In reality, eggplant originates from tropical Asia, so its entire cellular structure is calibrated for scorching days and warm nights. A dark-colored container actually helps here, holding on to warmth the way eggplant roots prefer, instead of fighting against it. Number 3 is okra, and according to Clemson Extension research, okra uses a highly efficient photosynthetic pathway that kicks into high gear specifically above 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Below that, it just sits there, sulking, doing almost nothing. Above it, the plant can add a foot of growth in a single week. Give it a deep container for its strong taproot, and you'll watch it race upward in the exact heat that stalls almost everything else in your yard. Number 2 is roselle, a type of hibiscus most gardeners have never even heard of. Its flowering cycle is triggered by long, hot days, which means the most brutal stretch of a southern or Gulf Coast summer is actually its prime performance window. Once the flowers drop, the part left behind, called the calyx, is tart, edible, and used for teas and jams across the world. It needs a large container and a long season, but for anyone gardening through serious southern heat, it might be the most rewarding plant on this entire list. And number 1, the most heat-defiant performer of the 9, is Seminole pumpkin. This variety was cultivated by indigenous growers in Florida over centuries, specifically bred to handle relentless heat and humidity that would rot a typical pumpkin vine within weeks. It needs the largest container on this list and something sturdy to climb, but in exchange, it delivers a harvest that laughs at conditions most pumpkins can't survive. Here's what I want you to take away from all of this. None of these 9 are magic. They still need proper watering, decent soil, and enough sunlight, because no vegetable is immune to neglect. What they have that most garden vegetables don't is a biological head start, traits shaped over generations specifically for the conditions most of us spend all summer trying to fight. The real skill in gardening was never about working harder against the heat. It's about choosing plants that were never afraid of it in the first place. If this changed the way you think about your own summer garden, subscribe, because next we're getting into something just as overlooked, the hidden reason your soil might be working against you before a single seed even goes in the ground.